Hello everyone, and thanks for tuning in to this week's LandscapeToday.net weekly weather outlook for the U.S. Well, the past week brought big rains and snows to the West Coast. Finally, El Nino kicking into gear there. We finally have seen it get colder and more winter-like in the central, the east, the Great Lakes, and that trend will continue over the next week to 10 days. These are the major weather trends we're watching here at LandscapeToday.net. First of all, colder weather for the central and east will continue. This week, especially this weekend and next week, there's plenty of cold weather to come. Lake effect snows will continue over the next few days in the Great Lakes states. Wet in the Pacific Northwest, Central and Northern California as well, although Southern California just a few light showers over the next few days, but Central and Northern California still looks wet. Watching the potential for Mid-Atlantic and East Coast winter weather over the next week or two. While we don't have a particular storm yet that we see on the charts, the Mid-Atlantic and East Coast, Great Lakes, and Midwest should be looking at the potential for some winter storms over the next 2 to 3 weeks. The current jet stream pattern shows high pressure building along the West Coast, and anytime the West Coast builds high pressure, that directs the cold into the nation's heartland. And the penetration of some cold air, highlighted by the blue here, will show that this area of the nation will be much colder this week. And if we look ahead into next week, starting with the Sunday forecast, this is for this upcoming Sunday, you can see the penetration of cold is further south. The southeast United States, Georgia, even the panhandle of Florida headed towards some colder weather. This will result in more lake effect snows, and eventually we should see the development of some stormy weather, winter weather here in this part of the U.S. later this weekend and next week. So contractors involved in snow removal, ice, those situations, you're going to want to watch the weather there. Now, the precipitation forecast over the next week shows by far the Pacific Northwest and the Central and Northern California being the most wet. These amounts here could be 6 to 10 inches of water along the Pacific Northwest coast. This will mean more big snows for the Central and Northern Sierras. Almost the entire Sierra Mountain Range either has snowpacks at or above normal. Well above normal snowpacks as well here in the Pacific Northwest. Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Utah, Nevada, all the snowpacks here above normal. We expected that during El Nino, and that trend will continue in the weeks ahead. Also, notice the weather here is not too heavy with the precipitation, but there's going to be a fair amount of this, especially north of this line here. That's going to be ice and snow between now and Tuesday. So folks in that part of the U.S. should be prepared for some winter weather. Should be rain down here in the short term along the Gulf Coast states, but even the southeast United States here next week, early next week, could have some freezing precipitation. Thanks for tuning in to LandscapeToday.net's weekly weather update. We'll talk to you next week.